Listen, you weren't meant to work for 40 years, working at a 9 to 5 where you get excited for the weekends because you get a little bit of time to yourself. They give you 2 weeks of paid vacation a year and tell you that it's a treat. That's not thriving, that's survival with benefits. You might even make a good income. Maybe you're one of the people that actually has a high salary and you're able to have a house and a boat and your family with the white picket fence. But let's talk about reality. You're trapped, just like everybody else that's working in that same system. That system that they teach you when you're a little kid. Make sure you're in your seat when the bell rings. Make sure that you do your homework. Don't act up in class or we're gonna give you detention. All that stuff sucks. That's not any way to live your life. I've spent the last 20 years trying to grow different businesses and figuring out the best way that I can educate other people to get out of the system and the rat race that the world is basically programmed you into. And there's a way to do it. You know, a lot of people talk about starting a business, and starting a business is definitely the first step. Owning your job is a huge step in the right direction. But if you're not careful, you're gonna end up with a business that still requires you to be there all the time. What happens if you open up a restaurant and you don't have a management team in place to run the restaurant for you? You'd be like my old boss at the pizza place when I was a kid, and you're working 60 to 70 or even 80 hours a week. Because if you're not there, the business isn't running smoothly. Sometimes people go out and they start businesses as specialists, whether you're a therapist or a doctor or a dentist or even blue collar careers. You end up in a position where if you're not at work, the business isn't making money. So when you're thinking about starting a business, you need to start thinking about what can I do that gives me leverage? How am I going to be able to put together a system that's going to be able to run this business, that I can control it, maybe put a team in place and allow it to make money when you're not there. That is the whole idea, and that's how the rich get rich. They create investments and they buy assets that generate an income. But as a small net worth person, you don't have the same leverage that they might have. But what you can do is you can start a business that's going to give you leverage. Just creating content on YouTube is one way that you can think about creating leverage. So I'm making this video today, and just because I'm spending the time sitting down to shoot it right now and I get it published, doesn't mean that that video will never earn money again. Big creators, they create a video and it gets views for years and years and years, and they're always creating an income off that one asset that they created. There's other businesses that you can start as well. Network marketing is a great example of that. You can build a network marketing company and it creates a leveraged asset for you to be able to make money over a long-term period. It's really cool the way that works. And you might not like network marketing, but there's a lot of other ways that you can do that as well. If you just sit down and you get creative and you stop thinking about what is a business that I can start today, that I can start running that'll get me out of my job, but start thinking about it in a different way. What is a business that I can start that I can eventually step away from and I can continue making money long term? So that is the shift that you need to make when you're thinking about starting your business. You need to start thinking of systems versus time. It might take you more time to get the system set up in the first place, but eventually the systems will take over and the business will start running on its own. Real estate's another example of that. You can become a landlord, you can start to buy property after property after property, and you'll have systems in place to be able to make an income off of those over time. Those are generating assets. Those are cash flowing assets. That is where you need to get. Now, it's not easy to do that. You can't go out and buy 4, 5, 10 different income rental properties if you don't have a ton of money. So that's where you need to start small, start creating your own little businesses like coaching programs, or, you know, there's a million options. I don't want to get too into what you should do. It's really more like, I want you to start brainstorming and thinking about what can I do, you know, as you, what can I do that I can start to generate an income? What are you an expert in that you can sell your knowledge back to people like a teacher does and start to make money with a long-term plan? So if you have two paths in life, you have one path where you're working for a job, you have your 9 to 5 schedule, you're living for the weekends, and then you have the other path where you can start to build systems and create an income that will be developed over a certain amount of time that will actually give you the freedom to go and travel and do the things that you really want to do. That's the fork in the road that you're at today. Which path do you want to take? Businesses might not be that easy to start. If they were really easy to start, everybody would have one. But you're never going to know if something works if you don't try. So what I recommend to you is just start trying. Come up with ideas, brainstorm, use AI, use ChatGPT to start flushing it out and see if it's something that's going to work. And then actually take action with it. Try to start that business and see if it's something that you can start to generate a profit from. If you can start making money from it, then you'll have the ability to scale it and scale it and scale it. And eventually you might be able to buy your freedom through that one asset that you created right there. So just don't be a slave to the 9 to 5 that you have no other option, because they put you in that position because they want you to earn money for their dreams. What I'm telling you is that you should choose the other path, and you should start building an income that will allow you to follow your own dreams. So thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe, give this video a like if I brought some value to you today, and I will see you guys on the next video.